Hey everyone, it is Mike, and I am now, I believe, on the 23rd of each month here in our vegan community. This is the video for March 2016, and the topic is activism. Some of you may know I also have my own channel on aPlantBasedDiet.org, and I'm going to put this video on that channel as well. So let me get right to it and start talking about activism. And I was kind of wondering what I was going to say about this topic, because I think that, when somebody uses the word activism, it seems to be like an extreme term for some reason. I don't know why. So I went and did a little research. I looked up the meaning of activism on couple different sites, and I kind of arrived at my own definition of it. And I'd say it's someone that kind of really is supporting or trying to correct some type of, trying to correct some type of social injustice, or any type of situation where an individual or someone or something is being treated unfairly. And of course I think back in history, and you can remember, of course, slavery, which would fit anyone who is against slavery would be considered an activist in my definition. Anyone who wanted women to get the right to vote, they would be, back in the day when women didn't have the right to vote, they would be considered an activist in my definition. And also I think that, anytime you take a stance like that where you're against a social injustice, or you want someone or something to be treated fairly that's being treated unfairly, I'd say you are an activist. And here we're talking about veganism. So veganism, as you know, has three different parts. It's got the animals, the environment, and also health. So you'd be considered an activist, or you'd be taking part in activism if you support any of those three forms of veganism. So say for animal rights, of course, anybody who is concerned that animals are being treated unfairly, they're being treated cruelly, they're being tortured and killed, anybody who kind of has that attitude, who kind of gets on social media, talks to their friends in whatever way. You don't have to join an organized protest, although that's great if you do. But in my mind, anything you do, for me, I'm on social media a lot. So if you're out there just making regular comments, sharing some pictures, anything that kind of gets those ideas across, you're influencing other people. It wasn't this way in the past, of course. I'm sure if you were around long enough anyway. I was around before the personal computer, before the internet, when we had rotary dial telephones, and I couldn't even imagine any of this stuff that's around here today. So in the past, an activist was, you went to protests, or you tried to get somebody's attention because there's no way to get it any other way. But today, really, I'd say social media is probably the most effective form of activism, and you don't have to get in somebody's face. You can just talk about you and your thoughts about this. That's activism. So for the animal rights, my stance on the animal rights is, I see how people have pets as animals, and then of course people eat animals. Some people eat animals. I know people that have pigs as pets, and I know some people that eat pigs, that eat bacon or something else, ham. So it doesn't make any sense. Why would someone get upset that someone ate, a horse lover would get upset that someone ate horse meat, of course, but they will probably eat a steak for dinner tonight, something like that. It doesn't make sense. It seems to me that there's a social injustice there on some level. It seems to me that in some way, some sentient beings are not being treated fairly. And just by taking that stance, which I have, that's a form of activism. It just has to be, I just mention it every so often. I'm not going to jump in somebody's face, attack somebody. I'm just going to put it out there, because I think that unfortunately a lot of these things, like slavery, like the women didn't have the right to vote, it's just part of tradition. It's part of habits. It's part of society. And it will change. There's no question about it in my mind. It will. It's only a matter of when. So if I get the conversation going on social media, that's the way to handle it, in my mind anyway. Now for health aspects, let's say, that's what my channel is all about. My YouTube channel is aPlantBasedDiet.org. We focus on the health aspects. We still will touch on environment, we'll touch on the animals, but we're focusing on the health. And for me, that is so important. I mean, in a way, that's an injustice to people because, if I'd say that for everyone out there, whether you realize it or not, health is the number one most important thing. If you don't have your health, you are miserable. And I'm not talking about, knocking on death's door. I'm talking about, are you on maintenance meds every day of your life? Why? Well, you're obviously not feeling well, so that needs to be dealt with. And that's really what I'm talking about in terms of, treating people fairly too. I mean, you're not treating yourself fairly if you're having to do that, be on meds all the time, but think of the things that you could help others with that you're not able to help them with because of the medical conditions. And so many of these medical conditions, specifically diseases, and there's other things, I'm sure we'll find out so many more connections as the years go by that are diet related, that specifically are the result of consuming animal products. So that's what I talk about on social media for health. And of course, the environment's another part. Animal agriculture is now known to be a major cause of major negative things with the environment. I think more than 51% of greenhouse gases are now caused by animal agriculture and everything related to it. So we could have a major impact on the planet if we all just stop that. And I think eventually we will. It's only a matter of time, just like all this other stuff. And, and the activism, which is for me, social media, getting the conversation going, talking to people, that is what is going to make the change, I think, for everybody. So activism, let's summarize it. I'd say, definitely traditional forms of activism like gathering together to form marches, protests, things like that, they're very effective. They are. However, I do think that social media and anything associated with it nowadays is the way of the future, just like I believe veganism is the way of the future. So I'm really happy about not only this channel, our vegan community, but the whole vegan community in general. I think everybody, even if they're not vegans, as long as vegans aren't rude and obnoxious, they actually really respect the vegan community because they realize that what's going on. I think people do. And I think before not too long, people are going to really realize all the positive benefits of our vegans, our vegan activists. And like I said, an activist just has to be somebody who's vegan, who goes out and engages in these conversations. And so social media is such a great tool, and I hope you all are using it. And I know you're watching me now, so hopefully you will get some kind of inspiration or motivation or encouragement or whatever it is. I know that everybody has their own talents, even with social media. You may think, well, I can't do social media, but you can. You may not be able to do it the way I do it, and I wish I could do it the way others do it, and I can't because my talents and gifts are different than everybody else. So just think of the talents and gifts you have. Think of the things that the particular things about veganism that you're passionate about. And, go on social media and somehow just start practicing, just start doing it. You don't need to be perfect. Just go out there and do it. That's all you need to do. And that is what's going to make this movement a reality. It's what's going to bring it to fruition, when enough people are engaging in the conversations, because we all know it's the truth, and we all know it's pretty much irrefutable. Somebody can, start talking against it for a while, but the facts are the facts. So I encourage you, and if you're watching this, please, anybody else who's vegan, to get out on social media and just engage in the conversations. Start the conversations, participate in the conversation somebody's already got going, anything like that. Because other people see it as a thing. And especially if you're in, let's say, groups on Facebook. That's another way to really participate actively in activism, is to get on some public groups in Facebook. Because if you don't know, the way public groups work, and I have a few on Facebook, and pages too, public groups and pages, other people, all your friends, when you start commenting on things, they see it too. Okay? So you don't even have to be talking to your friends. just the fact that you're friends with your friends on Facebook and you're commenting on somebody else's stuff, even if it's not your own original stuff, but they'll see your original stuff too, then they will be influenced by it. So think about that. And if you need a group to join or a page to join, I've got a page too. It's called Vegan in all capital letters on Facebook. VEGAN, all capital letters, you know how to spell it. I've got aPlantBasedDiet.org on Facebook as well. Just type it in. And actually, if you type in aPlantBasedDiet.org, you go directly to my Facebook group. And if you're in Facebook and you type in aPlantBasedDiet.org, you go to my Facebook page. So there's 3 of them right there. And you can those are worldwide. I've got some local groups too, but those are worldwide. And you can just get in the conversation and all your friends will see it. So I know that not every vegan is active on social media, but just think, if all vegans were active on social media, what type of change that would happen and how quickly that would occur. Think about that, and I encourage you to just do whatever you can with the gifts that you have, and we will all be really appreciative of it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.